When people laugh, celebrate, and lose themselves in joy, that's when the most dangerous truths hide in plain sight. Because when the crowd rejoices, their guard is down. Their emotions are open. Their desires are loud. And those who observe, instead of joining them, see what others can't. Machiavelli once wrote, "A wise ruler never reveals his full self in moments of peace. The crowd dances in the light, but the strategist watches from the shadows." In this video, we'll explore why you should never lose yourself in collective joy, and why Machiavelli, Jung, and modern psychology all warn about the seductive blindness of celebration. Because the world's strongest minds don't get carried away by emotion. They watch, they learn, and they strike when everyone else is asleep in comfort. The danger of emotional conformity. We're taught that happiness should be shared, that to celebrate is to belong. But Machiavelli saw something else, a trap. He believed that when people celebrate together, they reveal their weaknesses, their insecurities, their vanities, and the rare few who stay calm during collective joy gain insight others miss. It's not about being cynical, it's about being awake when others are distracted. Today, we'll uncover 10 dark lessons that show why you should observe when people rejoice, not join them. Each lesson is a law of psychological power, a strategy used by the cold thinkers who move quietly, while others lose themselves in noise. Lesson 1. The crowd reveals its desires in joy. When people celebrate, their masks fall off. Listen to what they laugh at. Watch what they praise. In their joy, they reveal what they value and what controls them. Machiavelli said, "Men are simple. They are moved by necessity or by pleasure. Pleasure exposes the deepest truths about a person's nature. When a man wins, when a crowd cheers, their true loyalty surfaces. If you watch, not join, you'll learn who craves validation, who hungers for dominance, and who hides fear behind laughter." Affirmation. I don't get lost in celebration. I observe and I learn. Lesson 2. Celebration is the perfect cover for manipulation. Every festival, every office party, every trending wave of joy becomes a playground for influence. People are suggestible when happy. Their critical filters are off. This is why advertising spikes during holidays. Why politicians smile more during national pride events. Robert Greene wrote in the 48 Laws of Power, "Never appear too perfect. Let others relax around you, then strike at their moment of ease. When others celebrate, you should be the one who studies the field. Ask, who's benefiting from this joy? Who profits from our distraction? Because the one who controls the mood controls the mind." Affirmation. While others dance, I decode the rhythm. Lesson 3. Emotional distance creates psychological power. Jung once noted that the man who looks inward awakens while others dream. When everyone around you rejoices, the temptation to join is strong. But the one who can stay still amid excitement is untouchable. This doesn't mean you reject joy. It means you don't let joy control you. You learn to separate emotional noise from true meaning. Machiavelli would call this strategic detachment, the ability to act with reason while others act from impulse. Real strength is not found in celebration. It's found in control, especially control of self. Affirmation. My calmness is my power. Lesson 4. The crowd always forgets who watched silently. History remembers the observer, not the reveler. While others waste energy in celebration, the observer builds knowledge. Consider Julius Caesar. He attended Rome's festivals, but not to dance. He watched the crowd, their loyalty, their passions, their weaknesses. When the time came, he knew exactly how to win them. Or think of modern leaders, CEOs, generals, strategists, who use the joyful moments of others to map influence. They let others celebrate while they prepare. Because when celebration ends, the world belongs to the one who planned through the noise. Affirmation. I watch while others sleep. I plan while others celebrate. Lesson 5. The higher you rise, the quieter your joy must become. Power attracts envy. Machiavelli warned, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Joy exposes you, and exposure invites envy, competition, and attack. When you win, celebrate quietly. When you achieve, move silently. Because every loud victory paints a target on your back. The cold strategist knows that real satisfaction comes from progress, not display. True winners smile in private, while others post their joy online. Affirmation: my victories need no audience. Lesson 6. The crowd's joy is often someone's design. When the masses celebrate, ask yourself, who orchestrated this? Most collective emotions are engineered by media, by politics, by algorithms designed to control attention. Even Machiavelli wrote that a ruler should create spectacles to keep people loyal and distracted. Modern rulers do the same, but through screens, trends, and emotional bait. When everyone laughs together, someone, somewhere, profits from it. And when everyone's angry together, it's often for the same reason. Affirmation: I don't get swept by emotion. I watch the tide that moves it. Lesson 7. The observer gains influence without exposure. There's immense strength in being the one who knows, but isn't known. The observer doesn't compete for attention, they collect data. When people are joyful, they underestimate you. They think you're quiet because you're uninvolved. But your stillness hides awareness. And awareness is the foundation of psychological dominance. In any environment, workplace, social circle, or family, those who control their emotions control the tone. You can't control what you join. You can only control what you watch and understand. Affirmation: power belongs to the silent. Lesson 8. Joy without control leads to dependence. Most people chase external joy, needing others to feel alive. But when your emotions depend on the crowd owns you. Machiavelli's warning wasn't against happiness. It was against dependence. He knew that the man who can generate calm and confidence alone becomes unstoppable. The crowd needs celebration to feel good. The strategist finds peace in clarity. Affirmation: my emotions belong to me, not to the crowd. Lesson 9. Restraint commands more fear than aggression. In moments of collective emotion, restraint is terrifying. When others scream, laugh, or weep, and you remain calm, they feel your power. Because emotion seeks validation. When you don't mirror it, people sense that you operate on another level, a higher frequency of control. This is why the Stoic soldier is feared more than the angry one. The silent leader more respected than the loud one. Machiavelli taught that he who masters appearances masters obedience. To appear unshaken while others are carried away, that's psychological warfare. In social groups, at work, in relationships, emotional restraint signals dominance. It shows that you're ruled by purpose, not impulse. Affirmation: my calmness unsettles the chaotic. My silence speaks louder than emotion. Lesson 10. Every celebration creates a future void. The higher the emotional high, the deeper the emotional crash. This is nature's balance. The psyche can't sustain extremes for long. After every celebration comes emptiness. After every surge of joy comes fatigue, doubt, or regret. Machiavelli understood this cycle. That's why he never trusted the crowd's happiness, because he knew despair would follow. And those who stay stable during others' highs remain unbroken during their lows. Robert Greene echoed this in The Laws of Human Nature. People are governed by emotion. The wise learn to observe it as a pattern, not a moment. The crowd rides emotional waves. The strategist sails with the tide, never drowning in it. Affirmation: I am not the wave. I am the ocean beneath it. Lesson 11. The wise study joy to predict behavior. Every person reveals a map of their mind through what excites them, what makes them laugh, what makes them proud. Joy exposes more than pain because pain hides while joy displays. If you want to understand people, watch what they celebrate. If you want to predict them, study their patterns of pleasure. In Renaissance courts, spies and advisors would attend banquets not to drink, but to listen. In laughter, nobles leaked secrets. In boasting, they exposed ambitions. The same happens today: online celebrations, success posts, humble brags. Every joyful display is information, if you have the patience to see it that way. The Machiavellian mind reads joy like a map, because whoever understands pleasure controls motivation. Affirmation. Every smile is data. Every celebration is a confession. Lesson 12. Observation is the gateway to power. In a world obsessed with expression, observation is rebellion. People crave attention, they measure self-worth through visibility. But visibility is vulnerability. To observe without needing to be seen is the essence of power. It's the art of seeing the world as it is, not as emotion paints it. Machiavelli wasn't teaching coldness for cruelty's sake. He was teaching clarity, the ability to separate perception from truth. When people rejoice, they abandon awareness. When you observe, you inherit it. And awareness is the first form of control. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Observation turns the unconscious visible. It gives you choice while others act blindly. Affirmation. I see what others ignore. I move when others rest. Lesson 13. The Roman way, victory is a trap for the undisciplined. After every Roman victory, generals returned to parades of glory. Chariots rolling through the marble streets, crowds screaming their names. But behind the celebration, the Senate watched, carefully, suspiciously, because joy makes men careless, and power makes them visible. And Rome feared men who were loved too much. Machiavelli studied this in the Discourses. He saw how the Republic kept balance through controlled triumph, giving a taste of celebration, but never surrendering to it. Even the victorious were reminded, "Remember, you are mortal." A slave would whisper this into a general's ear during his victory march. A ritual of humility, a reminder not to drown in glory. The lesson? When you rise, stay grounded. When you win, act as if it's routine. Power multiplies in quiet confidence. Affirmation. I walk through victory as if it were silence. Lesson 14. The Emperor's Mask. Appear joyful, feel nothing. In every empire, rulers learn a cruel art, appearing emotional to the crowd while feeling nothing within. Machiavelli called this the theater of control. A ruler smiles not because he's happy, but because happiness is a tool. He weeps when needed, laughs when useful. Emotion becomes performance, not reality. Modern psychology calls this emotional detachment for functional dominance. It's the same principle used by elite negotiators, spies, and surgeons. They simulate emotion to guide others, but never let it penetrate their inner equilibrium. The lesson here is not deceit, it's strategy. Because when you can use emotion consciously instead of being used by it, you step into the rarest form of control, emotional sovereignty. Affirmation. I own my emotions. They do not own me. Lesson 15. The Silent Era, China's Strategy of Stillness. Across the world from Machiavelli's Italy, Chinese strategists wrote of the same power, but in quieter tones. Sun Tzu in The Art of War warned, when you are happy, show sadness. When you are strong, appear weak. It's not hypocrisy, it's camouflage. During festivals or joy, the wise warrior watches, not dances. Because stillness during collective excitement blindsides the enemy. Ancient emperors of the Han dynasty were known to avoid grand celebrations after conquests. They observed who flattered them most, who tried to get close, and who envied. Joy reveals alliances and betrayal. It's a lesson echoed across centuries. Never celebrate too loudly in a world ruled by envy. Affirmation. Stillness hides strength. Calmness conceals fire. Lesson 16. The Modern Arena, the Age of Digital Joy. We live in a world Machiavelli could only dream of. A world where people volunteer their secrets. Every emotion is broadcast. Every joy is public. The digital age has turned celebration into exposure. Every post, every share, every like, reveals more than people realize. Psychologists call this performative emotion, where feelings aren't just experienced, but staged. And in this performance, truth leaks out. Who's insecure? Who seeks approval? Who tries to project control while quietly craving validation? Machiavelli's observer in the 16th century walked among men. Today's observer scrolls among profiles. Same principle. New battlefield. Affirmation. I don't post my power. I live it in silence. Lesson 17. the warrior's calm, the discipline of inner celebration. Machiavelli warned against joining the crowd's celebration, but he never said to reject joy entirely. He believed in controlled satisfaction, the kind found in mastery, progress, and solitude. A warrior celebrates through growth, not display, through endurance, not applause. Jung called this the integration of the shadow, the process of finding balance between light and dark within oneself. When you stop chasing collective highs, you find peace in inner victories. That peace becomes your weapon because no one can take it from you. You don't need the crowd to validate your strength. Your strength becomes self-evident in silence. Affirmation. My calm joy is my fortress. Lesson 18. Why celebration makes you predictable. Emotion is pattern. Those who express too much reveal their triggers. When you know what makes someone happy or angry, you can predict their decisions. That's why the crowd is easy to control. They react the same way every time. Give them a reason to celebrate and they'll forget they're being ruled. The Stoic observer breaks that pattern. When you stop reacting, people lose control over you. This is how Machiavellian thinkers become unpredictable, untouchable, and unnerving. Because no one can calculate the next move of a man who's not ruled by emotion. Affirmation. Unpredictability is my armor. Lesson 19. The power of waiting in silence. Machiavelli often advised rulers to delay action until emotion passes. He believed timing was the ultimate form of intelligence. When the crowd rejoices, wait. When the world celebrates, pause. Because time always exposes what emotion hides. He wrote, "He who knows when to wait wins without conflict." In today's world, waiting is mistaken for weakness. But in reality, it's strength disguised as patience. Silence is a storm that gathers force while others exhaust theirs. Affirmation. I wait as a weapon. Lesson 20. The shadow of joy where real power hides. Every emotion casts a shadow, and the shadow of joy is blindness. When people feel good, they stop questioning. When they stop questioning, they surrender control. The observer never hates joy. He studies it. He uses it to understand human design, the way emotions shape choices, loyalties, and illusions. That's why every Machiavellian thinker, from Bismarck to Greene to Jung, valued awareness above happiness. Because awareness creates stability, and stability creates dominion. Affirmation. I don't chase happiness. I cultivate awareness. Lesson 21. The price of clarity. To see too much is to stand alone. That's the first truth every observer eventually discovers. When you stop joining the noise starts to notice. People sense your distance. They label it arrogance, coldness, mystery. But Machiavelli would say, better to be feared for silence than ignored for noise. Because awareness separates you, and separation creates perspective. The price of clarity is solitude. But solitude is the birthplace of strength. You begin to see patterns others miss, motives behind smiles, weakness behind laughter. And slowly you stop chasing inclusion. You begin chasing understanding. Affirmation. I trade comfort for clarity, and clarity for power. Lesson 22. Loneliness is a sign of awakening. Carl Jung wrote, the lonely one offers his hand too quickly to whomever he meets. But the true observer learns to hold still, to endure solitude until it transforms. When you detach from collective emotion, the silence feels heavy at first. But soon, silence becomes your ally, because in silence you can hear the truth. Not the truth of others, but your own. Machiavelli called this the education of the mind through solitude. It's where instincts sharpen and illusions fade. And though it feels lonely, this phase marks the crossing, from reacting like the crowd to moving like a strategist. Affirmation. My solitude refines me. My silence educates me. Lesson 23. The observer's mind, neither warm nor cold, but precise. There's a misconception about being cold. People think it means emotionless. But Machiavelli never praised emptiness. He praised precision. He wanted clarity so sharp it could cut through illusion. To him, coldness wasn't absence of feeling, it was control over it. You still feel joy. You still feel love. You just don't belong to those feelings anymore. They visit you, but they don't rule you. This is what makes a mind powerful. The ability to experience emotion without becoming its servant. Modern psychology calls this meta-awareness, the capacity to watch your mind while it moves, to feel anger yet act calmly, to sense joy yet remain composed. This is not detachment, it's evolution. Affirmation. I master emotion through awareness, not suppression. Lesson 24. When stillness becomes a weapon. Stillness is not inactivity. It's stored energy. It's what happens when the mind stops leaking power through reaction. Machiavelli warned rulers never to react immediately, because every reaction reveals your hand. In stillness, others reveal themselves first. In relationships, business, politics, the one who speaks last often wins, because silence forces others to fill it, and in filling it, they expose their motives. Stillness makes people uncomfortable, and discomfort makes them predictable. That's why Stoic calmness isn't weakness, it's psychological dominance. Affirmation. My silence disarms, my patience conquers. Lesson 25. The final paradox. To be above the crowd, you must understand it. Observation isn't superiority. It's understanding. The goal isn't to stand above people, it's to see through them. Because every manipulator, every strategist, every leader who fails does so for one reason. They start to despise the crowd they once studied. Contempt blinds as quickly as joy. Machiavelli warned against this too. He wrote, "He who despises others loses their obedience." Even the cold observer must remain empathetic, not emotional, but aware of human fragility. Understanding people doesn't mean liking them. It means reading them without judgment. Only then can you predict, influence, and lead them. Affirmation. I see humanity clearly, and that's why I remain above its illusions. Lesson 26. The eternal watcher, power beyond emotion. As time passes, you notice something profound. The less you react, the more control you gain, not just over others but over yourself. Anger fades faster. Jealousy loses grip. Joy becomes quieter but deeper. You stop chasing moments. You start building legacies. This is what Machiavelli meant by living in reason, not in passion. The observer's reward isn't dominance over others. It's dominion over his own mind. In the chaos of life, he moves like a still shadow, deliberate, calm, untouchable. Affirmation. I move slowly, but every step is deliberate. Candle, cinematic reflection, the cold light of awareness. Imagine standing at a distance watching a crowd celebrate. Music echoes. Faces glow. Laughter fills the air. But behind every smile you see hunger. Behind every toast a secret motive. Behind every cheer, a fear of emptiness returning once the noise ends. You take a breath, and in that breath you realize you no longer need the celebration. You've become the calm in its center. You've become the eye of the storm. That's Machiavelli's warning, and his gift. The power to see clearly while others are blind. The courage to remain still while others chase illusion. The strength to stay cold, without becoming heartless. The closing law, joy is for the moment. Power is forever. Every empire, every ruler, every individual falls when emotion outweighs reason. The observer endures because he sees the rise and fall, without getting caught in either. You don't reject joy. You respect it. You study it. You master it. Because those who can remain composed amid pleasure, can remain unshaken amid pain. That's what separates the strategist from the crowd, the leader from the follower, the watcher from the world. Final affirmation. When others rejoice, I observe. When others celebrate, I plan. When others sleep, I see. For in the end, the cold observer is not heartless. He is awake, and awareness is the final form of power. The Machiavellian laws of observation. 1. Joy reveals weakness. 2. Emotion hides truth. 3. Calmness commands respect. 4. Stillness controls chaos. 5. Solitude builds awareness. 6. Awareness builds dominion. And the law above all, never lose your awareness in the warmth of the crowd. Because once you do, the world owns you. But if you stay awake in their dreams, you rule them. When people rejoice, observe, not join them. It's not a rejection of life, but a mastery of it. Because those who can smile without losing awareness will always walk above those who dance blindly. Remember, power begins where emotion ends, and awareness never sleeps.